In these difficult times, it's important to remember how much the arts play an important part in our daily lives. I wanted to take a moment and share one of my favorite things about Shakespeare: his villains. And in my humble opinion, none of his villains are quite as eloquent or as evil as Richard III. Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this son of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alorums changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly into lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor meant to court an amorous-looking glass, I, that am rudely stamped and want love's majesty, to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I, that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing worth scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why, I, in this weak, piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun, and descant on mine own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots I have laid, inductions dangerous, by drunken prophecies, libels, and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate, the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false, and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be mewed up about a prophecy which says that G, of Edward's heirs, the murderer shall be. Dive thoughts down into my soul. Here Clarence comes. Thank you. If you like what you saw, please consider being a supporting member of Southwest Shakespeare Company.
Hi, my name is Jenny Romney, and over 10 years ago, I was a student at Ray High School in Kearney, Arizona. Kearney is a small rural mining town, and we didn't have a lot of access to the arts. We didn't even have any sort of theater class or club, but every other year or so, we would go to see a play at the Southwest Shakespeare Company. The two plays that I got to see while I was in high school were Romeo and Juliet and The Merchant of Venice. I was able to dig up my sophomore endorsement of Romeo and Juliet, so I will read that to you. On Wednesday, which was 2 days ago, some of the sophomore and freshman students went to a production of Romeo and Juliet. I, for one, really enjoyed the play. The actors did a fantastic job. Though there was a little part during the balcony scene that was messed up, the actors did a good job working the mistake into the script, so you could hardly tell. And that is how you can tell a good actor from a bad one. Both will, more likely than not, mess up, but a good actor will go on and work their mistake in rather than get flustered. They also did a very good job conveying the feelings of the moment. The theater was also very nice. Seating was roomy enough, and though I sat on the very back row, I was still close enough to see the actors' facial expressions. All in all, this was an extremely well done production with superb acting, simple yet tasteful sets, and a really fun soundtrack. A couple of things that I didn't write in this journal entry are, number one, that it was set in the Middle East, which was really impactful at the time. I was looking through other journals, and the Iraq War was really prevalent, something that we were talking about a lot in my current event classes. And I think that helped me contextualize Shakespeare in a different way. After high school, I went on to college and I went to school at Southern Utah University. I know that part of the reason why I chose that school was because of the Utah Shakespeare Festival and that positive connection I had built with Shakespeare. I know that these have been really hard times for lots of people, but especially for the arts. So please give it to the Southwest Shakespeare Company. And think about those high school students whose lives you can touch.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow creeps in this petty place from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Hello everyone, my name is Bethany Baca and I'm a core company member of Southwest Shakespeare Company, and I am so honored and I have been so privileged to be a part of this core company. Not only have they given me some opportunities to work with them, but they have given me opportunities to grow as an actress during these tough times, you know, especially for the theater arts community, when we don't have any shows to perform in. I've been a part of some classes that they've done to help us grow in our craft and so much more, and I cannot thank them enough. And it would be such an honor if all of you out there could support Southwest Shakespeare. You know, any little thing helps. $5, because theater arts is, how do I explain it? We are athletes of the heart, and it's just an honor to take you guys away from reality for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or even 2 hours. It doesn't really matter. After a show, it's so nice to see audiences, you know, be thrilled and be excited or learn something new that they can put in their everyday lives. And to me, that's such a great honor to do that for people around the valley here in Arizona as an actress.
Hello, So my name is Rochelle Dart. I am a teaching artist, actor, and fight choreographer for Southwest Shakespeare Company. A little bit of history. Back when I was in middle school and high school, me and my family and my friends used to go see usually all the shows of the season, and we'd always stay for the talkbacks. These were really pivotal moments for me as a theater artist. I loved Shakespeare, I loved the performances, and I loved that afterwards the actors would take their time and be genuinely interested and curious of going deeper, and also interested in the person who was asking the question. Here I got to experience the kind of theater that I wanted to create, the kind of artist that I wanted to be, and the kind of community that I wanted to contribute to. Flash forward to now, it's always an honor to get to work with Southwest Shakespeare Company as they are committed to excellence in performance and also making classical texts accessible to everyone. I get to ask you for your support, and this can look like many things. It could be sharing this video and following the company on social media. It could be calling your friend and telling them about this work. Or it could be directly through financial support. Whatever you're able to give is appreciated and will ensure that this company continues to thrive. I'm also here to talk to you about stage combat. So shout out to my teachers, Andrea Robertson, Randy Messersmith, and David Barker. Stage combat is part of the storytelling of performance. And physical violence usually happens when conflict escalates to a point where words are no longer enough. And this happens quite a bit in Shakespeare. What I have with me here today, this is called a single sword. Well, okay, so single sword is technically a style, but this is the weapon generally associated with it. It's an épée blade. What we have here, the parts of it, we have the pommel, and then this here, this is the fort, or the strongest part of the blade, and then we have the mid blade, and then the foible, and this is the weakest part of the blade. What I'm going to show you today is a life skill, and this is something that you can use if ever you need to sheath your sword on stage, right? So when you do this, you don't want to look down at your frog and sheath your weapon, right? You want to be able to look at your opponent, or maybe the person who you're, flirting with, right? So what you do is you're wanting to kind of go at that angle, and then you're going to take your free hand and put it to the opening of your frog, and then slide that weapon in. So you're able to make eye contact as you're putting your sword away. It also just makes you look like a more skilled sword fighter. Single sword is also one of my absolute favorite weapons, and that's because it just likes to have a good time. So thank you so much for sharing your time with me and for your support of Southwest Shakespeare Company.